So welcome back, guys. I'm back with another episode on the Stay Sharp podcast. I have a great guest today. I've been wanting to talk to him for a while because I heard about you on YouTube. I saw a video of you on YouTube one time. I don't know if you're still doing those YouTube videos, but I'm gonna let you introduce yourself before you start answering these questions that I have for you.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Aries Delara, but most people know me as Debauched Romeo because I am a men's dating coach. So I have a lot of TikToks. So I have my biggest following is on TikTok, just around 120K. So you can either call me Aries or Romeo. Each one is fine.
And where can they find you? So they can find you on TikTok. What else?
Yeah, TikTok at Debauched Romeo, and also Instagram Debauched Romeo, email ariesthecoach@gmail.com. But I also have like an entertainment channel as well. I don't know if that's the one you saw me on.
The one on YouTube?
Yeah, like which YouTube video did you see?
I can't remember because I know it was like a year ago.
Okay.
But yo, thanks for coming in again. I gotta say thank you so much for coming in. It was pretty random because I was on your live on Instagram, and I'm not even on Instagram that much, but I got a notification that you were live, so I might as well give it a try. So, and now we're here, so great.
Yeah, man,
But, what's up?
I just started going live, so yeah.
But yeah, man, just to start off, what's your background? How did you get into being a dating coach?
Yeah, man. So back in middle school and high school, I used to be very socially awkward, bad with women. I found that friends of mine used to be really good with women. They knew how to just talk to them effortlessly, attract them. And I was like, what's going on? Because people say that I'm good looking, but for some reason I don't have success with women. But people who are like less physically attractive than me were getting success with women. So I was like, okay, looks aren't the end all be all. There's something more to this that I need to figure it out. And I ended up figuring it out. It was my charisma, my social skills, my confidence that I was lacking. So I went through a lot of painful experiences, like girls that I did have girlfriends, but they always made the first move. They asked me out. But within a week or two, they always dumped me because they saw how shy and awkward I was. I remember my girlfriend getting stolen right in front of me while I just stood there not knowing what to do. So I had a lot of painful experiences, which led me to really just master social skills, approaching women, attracting women. So the transformation that I took myself through inspired me to become a men's dating coach, to take guys through that same transformation.
Well, do you think that most dating coaches, or even like in the pickup industry, have very common stories of when they were younger and they had a lot of insecurities, and they just were horrible when it came to improving in their dating life?
Like, do I think that most men's dating coaches have the same experiences of being really
Yeah,
good with women? Yeah, I think that is a common thing that I find, but I think that makes sense though, because if you were to learn from someone who was always good with women, from my personal experience, if you ask them for advice, they're always like, "Oh, just be chill, bro. Oh, just be
yeah,
confident." You know? So, but if you ask someone who's actually been at that level where you don't know how to talk to girls, you need some type of relatability. So that's why it's good for guys that have been down in the dumps with women, because they know how it's like and how to get out of there, versus the guy who's been naturally good with women his entire life. He's not going to really give you good advice.
yeah, that's so true. And do you think that your insecurity, like what was your upbringing? Why is that you were naturally just pretty bad at women starting off?
Okay, hold on. Let me mention one thing. So if you see me look down, is because you're down here and my camera's up here. So if you're
Oh, you're
talking, I'm
fine. You're
probably gonna look
fine.
down
Yeah,
here.
you're
Okay, just
fine.
wanted to make that clear. Wait, can you ask the question again?
What was your upbringing? Do you think your upbringing affected your ability to attract women?
I think so. I'm trying to figure out what it is, because I'm getting more into like the inner work side of things, of inner work traumas, and I'm like asking my mom like about my upbringing, my childhood, and I know that she's a very paranoid, anxious mother. So I think that had something to do with how I perceived the world and how I thought like uh, I was supposed to interact with women, you know. maybe certain things that she said to me, she sheltered me a lot, so that could have been it as well. She didn't let me like have friends that much or go out, so I didn't get that much experience like socializing. And on top of me being shy as a kid, we moved around a lot. I've been to like 13 different grade schools, you know? So on top of being shy and awkward, I have to keep, being this new person every time I go to a different school. So yeah.
That's very interesting because I found that a lot of guys that struggle with their dating life or even approaching girls, they don't know enough about themselves. They don't know their history. They don't. There's a lot of things in our subconscious mind that we have collected over the years, and most guys don't know their past. They don't know what affected them to be who they are today. And I think that that takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of confidence to even think about your past and really pickpocket what are certain areas that affected certain areas of your life. So that's pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah. Have you been getting into that side of work? Into like, have you dived deep into your traumas and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I didn't do that because I thought I knew myself because I was creating experiences for myself at a very young age, like around 14, 15. But when I did psychedelics for the first time, about like when I was 19, 18, I did some, I don't want to talk about drugs in the stream, but like I did some psychedelics and it really, really opened my mind and I was able to look at my own life from the age that I was to all the way to I was like 5 years old and pickpocket certain things that happened in my life in details. And I found out certain patterns that I had because of things that happened to me in the past, which is it's very interesting because that could really help you. Because I know guys that are naturally good with women and they don't know shit about themselves. You know, they're just charismatic. You know,
Yeah.
they make an experience for the girl and so many emotional spikes that the girl is just so entertained by him that it works. It works.
Yeah.
Were you a natural introvert growing up?
Um, I would say so, but the thing is, here's my beliefs or my thoughts on this. I think that we're all born into this world very confident and expressive and authentic and loving ourselves, but it's due to certain traumas and certain social conditioning that happens to us that we then become stifled and we get in our heads and we now lack self-esteem and now we can't do simple things like approach and attract women, you know? So I think we're all born into this world whole, but it's due to social conditioning that really affects us, in my opinion.
Yeah. And see, I find that very interesting as well because why do you think that now than ever before, there's more guys that have more anxiety than ever before? They suck with their dating lives because this is a trend that's been going on for a couple of decades now.
Right. So I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. Like I'll just say this, there's a reason why Andrew Tate got banned, and it wasn't because of his misogynistic behavior.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to even think about that. And I even saw an article where there's a club in Australia where if you even look at a girl and you don't get her consent to look at her, you can be like fined or like put in jail. So
Wow.
they're starting to implement these kinds of things already. And like they're telling teachers that if they hear any of the manosphere talk, to pretty much shut that down. So I think the culture we're living in right now, it's really crazy. Like with cancel culture, everyone's afraid to express themselves authentically. And I don't know if you know this, but I was actually canceled on TikTok. It was a crazy experience that happened about 2 years ago. I don't know if you want me to get into that.
Yeah, no, go ahead. 2 years ago, too.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. So essentially what had happened was I was making a TikTok and I was explaining the concept of self-deception, right? So self-deception is pretty much when a person lies to themselves about a situation to make them feel better about the situation, right? So I was saying how I was telling a story how I hooked up with this girl, and the day after or something like that, she pretended like she didn't know that we had intercourse, right? Now
Hmm.
me, this really messed me up because I really liked this girl. And the fact that she was pretending like it didn't happen and we didn't have this experience together, it really kind of like messed me up. But I ended up finding out that she is a narcissist and she was essentially insecure about her self-image and she didn't want to appear as easy or like a SLUT. So instead of just owning what happened, she just lied and pretended like she didn't remember. So that's what I was explaining. And people took that out of context and said that she was so drunk that she didn't remember what happened and that I'm a rapist, predator, misogynist. And yeah,
Wow.
and then they ended
Wow.
up taking every other clip they can find that sounds somewhat bad, taking it out of context and doing the same thing over and over again.
Wow. And you know, 2 years ago in TikTok, that was kind of early on as well. So it looks like cancel culture was well and alive even 2 years ago. Because I mean,
Oh,
it's been getting worse and worse, but 2 years ago on TikTok, I
yeah,
actually didn't know that.
yeah. I feel like the short form content on TikTok, like that, it can lead to a very toxic place. Like if you see the comments people leave, if you see the videos people make, it's always like shitting on another person, trying to make them feel bad. Like people get these dopamine hits off of shitting on another person or talking mess about another person. And unfortunately, that resonates with a lot of people. So these videos, whenever you make an exposed video, it gets a lot of views, it gets a lot of likes. So now this person is more incentivized to keep bashing on people. And it's like a vicious, toxic cycle that's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, there's a very low level of accountability now. There's not a lot of people holding themselves to a specific standard, and it seems like this is becoming more normal every single day. And to be honest, like back in the day, like 2015, 14, the videos that we saw back in the day on YouTube were crazy. And now we don't see those type of videos. I mean, like even Real Social Dynamics or RSD, like the videos that they used to do, I mean, they moved it to self-development for a reason. It wasn't because they were trying to change up the company, but it was because they knew what their trend was. The culture was changing. And sometimes in business, it is a smart move to do that. You have to change for the times. But I think that it really affects culture negatively if no one ends up talking about what is really going on. And those people that are saying what's really going on, they're being canceled, which is it's a sad case.
Yeah, it really is sad because now people can't be authentic anymore. If you're 100% authentic, you will get canceled, and I believe that for a fact. Like there's certain beliefs or things that I say that if I were to say on camera, I would get canceled. I just know this. Like every single day, I was like, oh, if I said this online, people would clip this and cancel me. You know, it's just the unfortunate situation about today's life, and it really sucks because now everyone is holding up this image that they have to fit in. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is a question I already asked you, but most people did not see the live. So I was going to ask you again about the red pill community. So what do you think about the red pill community, and why do young men navigate towards that community?
Okay, so the reason why I think young men navigate towards that community is due to the fact that they probably have a lot of resentment or anger towards women because they don't have success with women. If you had success with women, if you had loving relationships with women, you wouldn't be in this red pill community where it's like always like bashing women and talking shit about women or like all this stuff. Now there is some valuable content that comes from the red pill community, but I notice a lot of it isn't that useful.
Mm,
I feel like what I do, which is help guys just build their confidence, being able to approach, attract women, stuff like this actually helps them versus like, I don't know, like I feel like most red pill stuff is just bashing women or like saying how women are like manipulative. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with that?
partially. I think there's a lot of truth to the red pill community. What ruins it to me is because I started with pickup, right? When I was 13, I started approaching girls at the mall whenever I can, all the way till I was like 17. I started getting results 2 years later. So it was 2 years of pure rejection. So me starting off with doing pickup and approaching women nonstop, I realized how important and how beautiful having connections with women really is. And when the red pill community started coming up, I feel like they were making us they're making young men look at women like an obvious obstacle. Like it's a separation between two human beings, making it hard to really build a true connection, a genuine connection. When with pickup, everything they taught me was to build this genuine connection where two parties are winning. They're having a great experience together. And I think the red pill community is not doing a great job of even letting know guys that you should build a great connection with females and also approach girls. Because a lot of red pill community guys don't even talk about approaching because I don't think they approach. To be honest, I think that you know what my conclusion to all this is the fact that people are getting lazier. The red pill community is like lazy game. It really is. It's really lazy game. They don't approach. They don't talk about approaching, right? Most of them sometimes they talk about like framing and how to frame the relationship so it could be long lasting. I think there's some truth to that. But other than that, I don't really think that the red pill community puts you in a position where you're having great relationships with females.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I feel like there's not a lot of like if you watch a lot of their videos, you're probably not going to get a lot of ways for you to actually implement it into meeting and attracting new women into your life. Like
Yeah.
they might talk about like a lot of theory or like how a girl will manipulate you or like, and if they do approach, they talk about choosing signals, how you need to have choosing signals, which is not true at all.
I can't even start with the choosing signal. I deleted that out of my vocabulary. And I have a buddy of mine. He started coming up to me about that. Like he only approaches girls that gives him choosing signals, right? And I'm like, dude, I don't, dude, that sounds so silly. I don't know how you're gonna get any types of results because most girls that are beautiful, they don't even look at you, dude. You have to, I think it's more assertive for a man to go up to a female, right? It shows confidence, right? But
Yeah.
the minute that you get, I don't know, it's like I feel like I'm giving the female full control of what my actions are going to be. So if she looks at me a certain type of way and I see that as a shooting signal, then I go up to her. Fuck that, dude. I'm gonna go get what I want. I'm gonna go get what I want. And that's kind of my mentality when it comes to business, it comes to females. So um it's it's really not the most practical way to improve your dating life.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. A lot of them will say like, oh, like I'll see this stuff. It'll be like, oh, don't go up to a girl and compliment her as soon as you talk to her because that's giving her too much validation and now you're seen as below her. It's like, do you know how many times I've approached a girl, complimented her right off the bat, and then took her on an Insta date, got her number,
Yeah,
like pulled the girl home, like they don't know what they're talking about. They're just speaking from inexperience.
that's true. It's true. And I actually asked my buddy, the same guy that talks about shooting signals. Um, I think that look, I'm gonna ask you a question that he used to ask me all the time, right? Because he wasn't with the pickup stuff. He was a critic for a very long time. He thought that a lot of this shit was fake and it was all marketing, which in some cases it was all marketing. Some guys that really weren't making any results, but they had a good marketing team around them and made the business very successful. So my question to you is, what do you think about guys that believe that looks is crucial in your dating life? Like, can you actually get results if you're a man that's not, you're below average on looks?
Yeah, I think you can definitely get results as a man if you're below average in looks, especially due to the fact that in my opinion, men are more attracted by looks than women are attracted by looks. Now, if you're a female and you were unattractive, that's probably a different story. But as a man, you can control so many factors that don't have to do with your looks. Like, of course, you can get in the gym, which you can control that. And then when it comes to other things, like you can build your status, you can build your lifestyle, how much money you make, like all these things really make you more attractive. Like if you see one person, like, I don't know, for example, Russ, I think Russ is like 5'7", right? But he has a lot of status. And I always see girls like dying to want to, meet him or stuff like this. So he's below average in height, but the fact that he has status, you know what I mean? So there's ways you can, I guess you can say, make up for your looks. And there's also things like obviously confidence, charisma, self-esteem.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a common trend when I hear guys that work out, because this guy works out a lot. He's been bodybuilding for a very, very long time. Those guys are, it's more common for them to look at looks as a very crucial thing, because you're constantly looking at yourself in the mirror and trying to see that every single muscle is perfect, So I think they're more tend to like look at the world that way, where it's all about looks when it's really not. There's things that you can control, like you were just saying.
Right.
But I found something interesting that I saw in your profile. Do you box? You have any experience?
So since a very young age, I always had different male role models because my dad wasn't always in my life. So I think I always had like a male role model that I looked up to. So from a very early age, it was Bruce Lee. So I got into martial arts, Jeet Kune Do. I read his book, took a whole bunch of notes on it. So since the age of like even 10, I started to get into martial arts. But then as of more recently, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, I started to get into boxing, which I am boxing, but not competitively. Like I'm not going into fights. But I will say I was talking to my friend about this yesterday because he's an amateur boxer. And I was telling him like, dude, I kind of want to do boxing, but in the influencer side of things. So like maybe once I make more noise and I get more followers, I can do like a competition against other men's dating coaches or something. Like that might be interesting.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Yeah, because I grew up boxing since I was 6 years old, and then I wanted to be a very professional fighter. And then when I was 15, I had a bad injury because my coaches never really taught me to take a day off. So I was in there every single day, and I guess my bones were like getting weaker. And I hit a jab one time, and I hurt my shoulder, and then I went full time on pickup for a while, and then I just kind of got distracted, got into other things, and I kind of let that dream go. But I do, one of my dreams is to have at least one pro fight, just to say I did it. So
Nice. Yeah, I feel like that feeling must be crazy. Like just being able to walk in a ring and fight a dude, and while having like a whole audience watching you must be a crazy experience.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of little small details that most people don't know. And I mean, this is very common with everything, like pickup and dating and traumas. And you have to like really, really delete everything that you knew about the sport and be open to new knowledge, and you start understanding the game in different levels. I mean, that's what mastery is, understanding certain things in different levels. So when I talk about boxing, most of my friends don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, oh, look, he's setting up the right hook. Like they don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's pretty common.
Yeah.
Most people don't know shit. But so how long have you been doing this? How long you been a dating coach for?
So I started posting content around 3 years ago. So I've been posting content for about 3 years, but I've gotten like really, really serious with how I do things probably about a year to a year and a half ago.
Mm,
Yeah, because what I used to do is I used to just offer like one-on-one consultation calls, like on Zoom like this, and I would charge very, very cheap, like $20 an hour, and then I would go up from there. And then I was getting to a point where I was charging like around $100 an hour for a Zoom call, but I was like, this is not gonna make me a living, you know? So I started to take guys through like full transformations, like 3-month transformations, and now I can do high ticket stuff with that. So now I can actually make a living off of being a dating coach.
gotcha. That must be so cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool actually.
That was kind of my dream for a while, and then I had a failed attempt on creating a dating business back in the day. So I kind of moved on, but definitely still a dream. But who knows? Maybe I'll get back into this because I do post dating tips and stuff like that on TikTok. The first few videos that went viral, it was just clickbait shit.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I haven't got banned from some of the videos that I have posted. But they did mute some of my videos for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, so another question I had for you was, do you think that there's way too many communities out there? Because I did a video about this about a year ago saying that there's so many communities, red pill, white pill, blue pill, like it's just what, pink pill, purple pill. I'm not surprised there isn't like a fucking black pill somewhere. But is there so many communities to the point where men are just so confused? They have no guidance. They don't know who to look in. I think that figures like Andrew Tate that don't, he said it a couple of times. He's not in the red pill community. He's not in the manosphere. He doesn't. He wants to be a part of all of that. And the minute you're apart from all these little communities, and it sets you apart from everyone else. And I think that everyone should be doing it because I think there's too many communities.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of different communities. Everyone wants to find their identity group that they fit in with. Um, and yeah, there definitely is a lot of different groups. But I feel like the most beneficial thing for guys to do is there's certain groups that are obviously not good for you to be in. Like in my opinion, the black pill community is one of them. These guys are just obsessed with their looks and increasing their looks. And they're like, bro, if you don't have the chiseled jawline and you're not 6 foot plus, you're doomed for life, which is absolutely retarded. Um, these guys need to really look at the communities and ask themselves, is this a healthy community to be in? Where you're idolizing guys with strong jawlines and who are over 6 foot. Like this is not going to help you, you know? Like
Yeah,
I would say they need to be more self-aware and have some common sense about the communities they're in.
gotcha. Yeah. What is your advice to either young men or older men that live in small cities and they want to start building relationships with women?
So for the guys that are in smaller cities,
Yeah,
so because like you're saying they're gonna be afraid of like getting a bad rep if they approach a lot of girls.
yeah,
Yeah, so I actually do have a student right now who's he says he's like in a village. He calls it a village, but he said there's a city maybe like 20, 30 minutes away from him. So that can be one option for guys. If you don't want to get like a bad rep in your small town, you can drive to a city that's probably bigger, 30 minutes, maybe an hour max away, where you can go and approach girls and not feel like you're going to be noticed if something goes bad. But at the end of the day, dude, you need to let go of your need for validation, your need of approval, your need to look cool, because if you're always worried about how others perceive you, you're never going to truly be confident. You're never truly going to have the life that you want. You're always going to be caring what other people think. Like I was in college and I could have been like, oh, I'm not going to approach girls because if I see this girl and I get rejected again, she's going to see me and it's going to be awkward. But I just didn't care. I approached the girls anyways, even though I knew I was going to be seeing them again and again.
yeah. So you went to a small school.
It was a university. It was Texas State University. So, but the thing is, like, you're still gonna see the girls. Like if you approach a girl and it goes bad, like you're probably gonna see her again. But me, I just didn't care because I knew that this is what I wanted to do for a living. So I was like, it's gonna pay off in the end.
Gotcha. And right, during that time when you were in college doing this, and like how many? Because I'm assuming it's a huge school. I'm assuming there's a lot of students. There's thousands, right? Whenever you did see girls and that you had past relations with, how would you approach that situation if you were in the same room with them? Just not even.
Yeah, so like honestly, the way I would treat it is as if like nothing happened. Because if you treat it as if something happened or like if you're weird about it, they're gonna be weird about it. It's the
Yeah,
same thing with approaching a girl. Like if you approach her and you're nervous and scared, now she's gonna feel weird and awkward. But if you approach her, you're confident, you're relaxed, you could care less if she rejects you or not. Now she's gonna feel way more comfortable. Now y'all can actually vibe. Now it can actually lead to other things. So I think it's about the way you approach it. if you're weird about a situation, she's gonna feel weird about it. It's the same thing with insecurities. Like if you're like I'm 5'9", right? If I was insecure about being 5'9", now uh if I was insecure about being 5'9", now every girl's gonna be like, oh, now I don't want to be with him because he's insecure about his height. But if I just owned it, it would be a different story.
100%. My
Yeah.
buddy destroyed that whole idea that heights matter to me. Because when I was 13, I saw a video. Have you familiar with Simple Pickup?
Yeah.
So they're the ones that got me into pickup. And then after that, I got into other YouTube channels. So I shared the video to my buddy, and we got into pickup together. And we were in this journey for a while, like almost a decade doing this. And he was 5'5", 5'4". I was 5'8", 5'7", depending on the day. Right. So him being 5'4", 5'5", and getting the results right in front of me just destroyed that whole idea, dude. Because we were total opposites. He was a natural extrovert. I was an introvert. So I approached my dating life very differently than what he did. Right. He barely even thought about anything. He honestly just took action and then recognized patterns over time. I wanted to study game as much as I could. I read books. I did all of that just that way I could apply certain things that I saw in books into the field. So I did that for a couple of years, but I realized that I even forgot how tall I was, dude. Like 5'7", it didn't matter to me at this point. I'm taking girls from guys that are 6 feet, 6'3", 6'4". Like it's really a mentality that you should have. And I think that well, let me ask you this, because I saw a video about this years ago and I haven't thought about this in a while. Do you think in some degree, maybe height matters, right? But not as much as people think. Do you think that the shorter you are, the more work you have to do?
Like you need to have more things in your favor if you're shorter.
Yeah.
I honestly believe it comes down to the way he sees himself.
Mm,
Now, a lot of people might think it's bullshit, but I honestly believe that has to do with like 90% of it. Because
okay.
if you are insecure about your height, no matter how tall you are, how short you are, it's an insecurity and it's unattractive, you know? And like there's guys that are 6 foot that want to be 6'2", and the guys that are 6'2" want to be 6'4", you know?
Yeah.
So I really think it comes down to how he sees himself. If he's comfortable with it, the girl can be comfortable with it. If you're not comfortable with it, what makes you think a girl is going to be comfortable with it? You're supposed to be that rock. You're supposed to be that guy that is knows what the fuck's going on, that can make her feel safe. But if you don't feel safe within your own self, it's a problem.
Yeah. 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 I agree 100%. Um, Another question I have for you. Why do you think that today, because you have your own business, right? You have your own coaching business and it's in the dating industry. Why is that most dating coaches don't collab as much as, I mean, I think forever, there's so many years that people just did not collab. Why do you think that a lot of dating coaches don't collab or even make content together?
Okay, so I actually do know one dating coach that popped into my head when you talked about collabs. His name is Playing with Fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a more like on the text and online game side of things. But I noticed that he does a lot of collabs with different men's dating coaches. So he's actually doing a good job with that. But there's on the other hand, there's other people like John Anthony Lifestyle. I don't know if you've heard of him,
Yeah. Yeah.
where his thing is pretty much shitting on every single possible dating coach he could find. So there's like two different sides of it, you know. But yeah, I think it's definitely a good idea for more men's dating coaches to collab and talk and pretty much bounce each other's ideas off of each other instead of being like, I have all the answers. No one else is good as me, you know?
Yeah. 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 Because I know Hayden. I don't remember the other guy's name, but AG Hayden. Are you familiar
Oh
with
yeah,
him?
I met him in on 6th Street
Oh
in
yeah,
Austin. Yeah.
in Austin, yeah. So I just moved to Austin. I haven't been to Sixth Street yet, but I'm super excited because I've always lived in a very small city. So and the question that I asked you earlier, I didn't give a fuck. I was approaching every girl I saw. I didn't care if they saw me because it's not it's pretty normal to see girls that you had past relationships with in a restaurant. And the other day, so I sprained my ankle, right? I'm in crutches. I went to the hospital before moving to Austin 2 weeks ago, and the nurse that was taking care of me, I I we had relations years ago, like 2 years prior to that, but it was so normal to me, and I don't make it awkward either, but it was so normal to me. That's why I asked you that question. But moving to a big city like this, it really puts me in perspective that now I really don't give a fuck, like at all. Like there's so many people. I think the population is around like 950,000 people in just one city. That's unbelievable. So I
Yeah.
know huge cities like Miami. Are you based in San Antonio, right? That's correct.
Yeah, I'm in San Antonio right now.
Is the population pretty high there too?
San Antonio is a big city.
Yeah.
So I don't know the exact population, but I know it is a big city. It's bigger than Austin. People are usually are you good?
Yeah, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. People are usually like I was surprised to find out that Austin is actually smaller than San Antonio.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
But
I
I think there might be more people in Austin, but we're talking about the size of the city. San Antonio is bigger.
wow. And you've been living in Austin all your life? Were you raised there?
In Austin?
No, in San Antonio.
Yeah, so I was born in San Antonio, but as I said, I went to like 13 different schools. So I've lived all around Texas. I also went to Germany because my mom was stationed there for the Air Force when I was like 4 and 5. And then I also lived in New Mexico for a short period of time. And then I came back to Texas.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, and now you become a international playboy at this point, dude.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, you got some good highlights. I like it because you show a lot of proof that you know exactly what you're doing, and you
Yeah.
actually get you get the results. So that's pretty tough because I know a lot of guys that don't do that, and they're intimidated by people's judgments too, because it fucks with their money and shit.
Wait, can you
But
say that again?
it fucks with their money. Like most people don't want to show infield or anything like that because we live in a world that's like everything's almost fake at this point. You know, you could study a book and then sell the idea that you are an expert in that area when you're really not. So I think that you're doing a great job. And this is why, like I said, I hate you up because you fall in the category of like this guy knows his shit, and I'd rather talk to someone that actually proves that he knows his shit than someone that is a great marketer. Because
I
that's
appreciate
where
that.
I'm at now. I'm in the side of marketing now, but with a lot of the things that I do, I've done it in the past. Because funny story, around 19 or 20 years old, I lived in a van for about 5 months, and I had a lot of girls that I was dating at the time, and I was doing an OnlyFans agency. So that's where I got my marketing aspect, my experience from. So and then it translated into business. I wonder why a lot of guys are not doing that though, because I found that guys that are it's funny because Andrew Tate talks about this, how the way that he touched a million was to do some life gaming shit with his girlfriends. A lot of
Yeah.
guys that are desperate to fucking get money, like this is something you could really do, and it'll improve your dating life, and it'll improve your way of looking at and approaching marketing and business.
Yeah, like you like doing OnlyFans with hot girls.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is a pretty good idea. I'm honestly like thinking about that myself, but
yeah.
I don't really know how well that would be. I'd probably get a lot of criticism. They'd be like, "How can you be doing OnlyFans whenever you're a men's dating coach? Like, isn't that contradictory?" I feel like I would get a lot of those comments.
Got you, got you.
But I do want to say I appreciate the fact that you appreciate that I put my receipts out there, that I show like I actually know what I'm talking about and I actually get results, because it's kind of hard for me that people don't know this. Like as a men's dating coach, I actually get it depends on the girl, but sometimes I can get more shit for being a men's dating coach. Like it's harder for me to get girls because I'm a men's dating coach.
Really?
Yes, like girls have told me, they're like, "Oh yeah, if I saw your videos before, I slept with you, I wouldn't have talked to you." I was like, "Wow, that's crazy."
Do you think
Because
they really mean it though?
Some girls, yes. So some girls, they're actually really attracted to it, and then other girls, they're like turned away by it. So it
Gotcha.
depends on the girl, because I have an entertainment channel where I took this idea of videos from Jack Manley. He's kind of my friend now, so it's cool. But I had a channel where I just interviewed girls and like made out with them on Sixth Street.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, if a girl like those are like really hardcore videos, just me fucking going wild and out, right? So those are the videos those girls are talking about. And yeah, it's also hard as a men's dating coach to show that you have results without like feeling bad about like the girl. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 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 That makes
Because like you
sense.
don't want to put her privacy out there, but at the same time, like I have a business and I know that if I show this, it's more likely for guys to be like, oh, this guy actually gets results. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. I think the privacy part is what bugs them the most, I think. Because like in the past when I used to say I was a dating coach back when I was 16, 17, when I started my dating company, right? And I used to tell girls that I would see the third time or fourth time or whatever, and we're building a relationship. I'll tell the girls this, and they really didn't have an issue. And maybe it had to do with how I framed it, because I always framed it as I'm helping guys. I'm helping guys with their dating lives, and this is the way I have to do it. And they'll be so cool with it. And maybe it had to do with the fact that I was so unique. They never heard anything like this before, and maybe nowadays it's like more common. There's more videos out there, TikTok videos of guys doing dating stuff. But a few years ago, girls didn't even know this shit existed. To this day, I meet girls that don't even know this exists.
Like recently I had a girl over and she was very intrigued because I had a call with the
Yeah,
guy that I was hopping on with. I was like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna help him with this, confidence social skills meeting with him. And she was like, oh wow, that's really interesting. I've never heard of that before. So yeah, I feel like if the girl understands what you're doing, this is the reason why some people like cancel culture exists. They see one thing and they just think that it's all about that one thing. So if they see me making a video about, I don't know, how to have sex with a girl, now they think I'm just a misogynist who teaches guys only how to have sex with girls, which is not
yeah,
true. It's just one part, and they make the whole thing about that one thing. But if they understand I'm a good guy, I came from a very bad place, I was very socially awkward, but now I get success with women, and all I want to do is just help guys do the same thing, meet their girlfriend, meet their wife. Now they can be like, oh, okay, now this makes sense why he does this. Now they're more interested.
yeah. And I think that the people that actually critique people like yourself, it's a very small majority. I don't think there's a lot of people. I think a lot of people actually enjoy your content and see it as very valuable. I don't think the majority is people just trying to cancel you. But they have such a, I guess, power now where their words really matter when it really doesn't. Like, who are you, right?
Yeah, it really depends. I feel like there's a lot on both sides. There's a lot of people who like to talk shit, that put down men's dating coaches, and there's also a lot of people that see the value that we bring and that really appreciate us.
Yeah, yeah. I think you said it. Ethics is really important. I mean, if you're doing shady stuff, you should be. If people look into you and you get exposed, it was on you. You did some shady stuff. It wasn't
Wait,
ethics.
you said FX?
Yeah, ethics.
Oh, ethics. Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, you seem like a very ethical guy. So I don't think that a lot of people, most people are gonna have problems with your content, not really your ethics, because I think you're coming from a good place. Your intent, it's good. I don't think there's nothing wrong there.
Right. But to someone that doesn't know me, they're just gonna assume the worst if they see a video that they don't like. You know.
Exactly.
Now
Exactly.
now I'm the worst person ever when they've never met me. Which
Gotcha.
is which is this is the reason why, like, when Andrew Tate got banned, this hit a place in my heart because I was canceled as well, but obviously not at the size that he was canceled. Like, he was canceled from like pretty much everything, like banks, payment processors, fucking email account, like all that. So I went on my Instagram and I did a rant pretty much because it pissed me off, because I know what it's like to get clips taken out of context, twist the story, and now you're a misogynist. Now you're a predator. Now you're a rapist just because of these clips that we found to make you look bad. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. people's attention spans are this small now, like gnats. So now it's like they see a small clip and that's your whole character right there. Like this is who that person is because of one sentence.
Yeah,
So
it's unfortunate, but it
yeah,
is what it is. There is a good thing that came from me being canceled is it's learning how to strip myself from the need of validation. Because
mhm,
if you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people just trashing you every single day, it gets to a certain point where you're like, okay, I have two choices. I can either take what they're saying seriously and probably ended up, unaliving myself, or I can just learn to love myself instead of need the validation from another person.
yeah,
Which when you're actually able to do that, that's how you get core confidence. Whenever you don't need the approval from another person. So that's one of the things that I'm really grateful about being canceled for, and it's a cool experience. Who's able to say they got canceled for being a predator, misogynist, rapist at the age of 21? I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
yeah. It builds character. It builds character.
Yeah.
So this is my last question. When it has to do about dating, what do you tell guys? How do you? Because I've had different approaches over the years, but what do you tell guys, or what advice do you give them about how to move the interaction to a very sexual place, or how do you move the interaction where both parties get what they want?
Okay, so your question is how to move the interaction forward to the goal that they both want, which is, I'm assuming, sex.
Yeah,
So how to do that?
yeah,
Yeah, so it's kind of a vague question. So it depends on like where I meet the girl, like it's through with a cold approach or it's through dating apps or met her out at the club or social circle. Like, do you want me to go like from the approach all the way to taking her back
yeah.
home or
Let's do the approach. Yeah, approaching.
okay. So there, like I always say this to my students because I truly believe it. It doesn't matter what you say on the approach. It's really about who you're being. If you're actually confident in yourself, because this is a side tangent kind of, but I had a student where I told him to approach two girls, and he was like, "I can't do it." I was like, "No, just go talk to them. It's fine." And he's like, "I don't know what to say. Do you know what to say?" So I was like, "Here, come with me." And I went up to the two girls and I said, excuse me, I don't know what to say. Yeah, I'm kind of like bad with my words. But anyways, what's your name? And it went really good. So I did that in front of him to show him it doesn't matter. I can literally use his excuse of not knowing what to say to approach a girl and it could still work.
Yeah, yeah.
So the approach and what you say doesn't really matter. It comes down to the inner side of things. And then from there, like so can you give me more context of like where I approached?
You saw her in Walmart.
Walmart?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, go up to her, tell her I find her very attractive. And it depends on her reaction and her response as well, you know. But essentially, so I'll give you an example of what I did like 2 days ago, because I was filming content for a student of mine. I was trying to show him how to take girls on Insta dates. You know what that is?
yeah,
Yeah, so essentially, first girl I approached, I went up to her and I was like, excuse me, sorry, I thought you were really cute. She's like, oh, thank you. My name's Olivia. She introduced herself. Introduced myself. And 40 seconds into the conversation, I had her agree to go on an Insta date with me to get boba tea. You know, so 40 seconds in, I'm already leading the conversation. She's following my lead. Now from there, all I have to do is build comfort because the girl's already attracted enough. A girl's not gonna agree to go on an Insta date with a guy if she's not somewhat attracted. So whether it was the way I approached her, maybe I was physically her type, it could have been whatever, right?
yeah,
Now it's just about building comfort with the girl, because she's obviously already attracted. And then at that point, I could lead it forward, be like, "Yo, so find a common interest. Like, what do you like to do?" She says, "Oh, I like playing video games." "Oh, cool. I actually have a PS5." "Oh, really?" "Yeah." So that's called like seeding the pool. You probably know this, right?
yeah,
And then yeah, and then you can be like, "Yo, do you want to play?" And she says, yes, then cool. Now you're leading it back to your place from Walmart or wherever you met her. That's kind of like it's a very brief description, but that's essentially a way to get her back to the place. And then there's a whole thing about once he gets to your place, how do you escalate in a way that's smooth? But I don't know if you want me to get into all that, or
No,
if I
continue
can
on,
even
continue
get
on.
into that,
Yeah.
because the world we're living in today, I don't want people to be like, oh no, they take me out of context again.
No, that's valuable stuff. Though. That's valuable stuff. When I was younger, I always wanted to say, always wanted to use the patio. I have a cool view. I always wanted to say that. Now I really do have a cool view, so now I can really say that. But back in the day, pulling was pretty tough for me because I didn't really have any places to really go when I was younger. So you had to get very creative, very
Yeah,
creative. And I think most girls are down for new experiences. Um, it's really cool when you meet girls like that are very, very adventurous.
yeah, yeah, and I feel like most girls are. You just need to find like for example, the girl that I approached for the Insta date, she was like the perfect girl I could have approached because
Yeah.
she's from a small town. She was visiting a bigger town, San Antonio. She got off earlier from work. She was just window shopping. She had nothing to do. She was shamed for being, having sex before marriage, and now she's like in her more rebellious stage. So like this girl was like perfect girl I could have approached to like pull back home. But yeah, like you'll come across girls like that.
What is the most valuable thing you've learned these past few years when it comes to dating women?
The most valuable thing I've learned. Okay, so it actually has to do with more of the inner side of things because when I first got into this, like I'm sure the majority of guys are, they're in it because they're in pain and they just want a girl, they want to have sex with hot girls. It's like all these like egotistic reasons, you know? But what I've learned from having sex with all these girls and stuff like that is that it doesn't truly make you happy. No matter how many hot girls you have sex with, it's never going to truly make you happy. It's just temporary validation that's going to come and go. So if you're depending on a girl to make you happy, you're fucking up. So this is why I'm starting to teach my students more about the inner work and learning to actually love yourself, deal with past traumas so that you no longer feel you need another person in order to make you feel good. Because if you're coming from this place, no matter how many girls you get, no matter how much success you get, you're never going to be truly happy. So one of the most powerful things that I'm also on the journey with myself is learning to actually love myself so that I don't need another person and I don't get into a toxic relationship. Because that's essentially how you get into a toxic relationship is when you're insecure, they're insecure, and you guys are attracted because of your, feeling you need each other. And that's another thing. Most people feel like they're in love. Oh yeah, I love her, when the reality is it's not true love, it's just an attachment to that person. Like if if it was in their best interest to leave you, you wouldn't want that to happen because it's still about you. You know what I mean? If you
Yes.
truly love that person, if it was in their best interest to leave, you would say, you know what, that's totally fine, you can leave, because I love myself, you should love yourself, and I don't need you to be with me. I'm going to love you, but I don't need you.
Yeah. 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 I always thought it was very natural for me to look at the signs of a very toxic girl. I had to do a lot with my parents. I had very traditional parents growing up, so pretty good role models when it came to relationships. And I would see red signs, red flags like this, and I thought every guy had the ability to see those signs, but most guys are just blind almost because these signs come in the first 30 minutes with the girl, and about sometimes I used to know if this girl had way too many red flags in about 5 to 10 minutes. Um,
Mhm.
it's just certain patterns that you see. For guys that don't have any experience with women and you want to look for these red flags, you have to approach. I think that's the best way to really see, actually going through the experiences because a lot of things that the red pill community doesn't talk about again is approaching girls, right? They want you to just learn all this from a video, but really the best way possible to do this would be, in the most practical way, is to actually approach girls and then gain that experience and gain all this knowledge that you may get from just dating in general.
I would even take it further to say not only approaching, but it's something I've learned with myself, right? Because I've gotten very good at, attracting, approaching a women, sleeping with them, all that process, right? But when it comes to more of the relationship side, that's where I notice I don't have the most experience, right? So I'm
Mm,
really good at getting guys results when it comes to that area. But when it comes to like, I feel like men's dating coach should kind of be labeled different, because there should probably be men's relationship coach and like men's, I don't know, like approaching, attracting coach, or I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm saying, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I noticed whenever there's girls that I'm talking to more seriously, now I start to notice things that I'm like, now it's like I need a coach. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, and
Yeah.
what's weird about my case was that I was more intrigued by how to keep the chemistry going after the initial approach, like building a relationship with a girl. 3 months, 6 months in. I was mostly interested in that more than the actual approach. Even though it was kind of like a phase to me. It was like a romantic phase to me. The approach. Oh my God, I'm talking to a girl, instant date, boom. I take it here, take it there. And then I see her again. That's so fucking cool, right? But I don't know why, but I found that building a relationship was way more interesting to me. And I think that this community lacks that. There's not enough dating coaches talking about how to build a long-lasting relationship with girls. And I think that is something that it's a hole in there, and I think someone should fill it very soon because there's a lot of guys asking so many questions, and I've heard dating coaches say ridiculous things about this. They don't teach it. I've said I've heard guys say, um, that after you game the girl, you don't have to game that much after because you already gamed her, right? That there's some truth to that, but there's a lot of things that you're kind of missing. There's a lot of specific things that a relationship needs, some pillars that a relationship needs for it to be very successful and healthy in the long term.
I also don't agree with this like feeling that you need to game the girl. Because if you feel that you need to game the girl, you're fundamentally not the type of guy that is deserving of her because you feel like you need to game her, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, a lot of this stuff should be natural, effortless. Just you attract her by being your authentic self, not by putting up this facade and attracting her with some technique that you found. Because if you base your relationship on that, now you're always gonna feel like you need to perform. Oh, like now you can never be comfortable and okay in your relationship. You can never truly enjoy it because like, oh, I got a gamer. Oh, I gotta do this technique that I heard of. You know?
yeah, yeah. You bring up something I haven't talked about in years. That's so cool that you bring that up because that's how I started. I started with just reading books and going by that, and not because I didn't really know myself too much, right? So I'm going by what everyone's saying, and I got so good at faking this shit that I didn't stop. It just continued. All these strategies. I used to look at Todd a lot and using his lines,
Yeah.
and this shit was working because I was able to like fake it, and at some point I'm like, yo, I'm really becoming a sociopath doing this. Like, who am I, right? And it only took one girl that I hurt one time that I needed to look at myself and really reevaluate the way I used to approach dating, and it definitely hit me when I did, the psychedelics. It really hit me because my approach is totally different now. I'm not trying to game anyone. I'm not trying to game a girl now. It's like, this is me. You either accept it or you don't, and that's pretty much it, right? So I think you bring up a really good point there.
Yeah. I think it's a huge point that some dating coaches should definitely mention.
Yeah. And one little side thing is kind of irrelevant. Um, when I watched Jack Manley, did he have prior experience in the community? Because this dude was doing some good things. Like I was seeing a lot of good things in these videos. I'm like, yo, this guy knows his shit.
You said, wait, can you ask the question again? Was he what?
If Jack Manley was ever in this area, the dating area in his past life, before the videos.
Oh yeah. So thing is I don't know what he would want me to say. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Since he is like a public figure and I do have
no,
like
that's all right.
inside quote unquote insider knowledge, uh but yes, he was into the pickup community, and I think he's openly mentioned this as well. Like he did a lot of cold approach before he started his channel. He told me like if I didn't start cold approaching before I started the channel would have never been a thing because I would have never had the confidence to be able to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome because I can't ignore the fact that sometimes I see some guys doing, you know, these interviews on YouTube, and I could see which guys really had a lot of practice. Like this is so either they're a full natural or they really know their shit somehow, you know, because he was doing a lot of great things there in those videos that I saw. But that's my like inner pickup fanboy in me, you know, looking at these things. But
Right.
you know, any you know, closing thoughts, anything that you want to tell the audience?
I mean, I like the answer that I gave whenever you said I think you said like what's the biggest lesson I learned throughout these years of dating? It's
Yeah.
truly, yeah, truly getting to that place where you genuinely love yourself and accept every part of yourself, and you no longer feel like you need another person to, you know, validate you.
Hmm.
Because I feel like that's the goal with everyone. Everyone wants to feel happy. Everyone wants to love themselves. This is just the goal that I feel everyone should have. Instead of chasing it with finding new hot girls or getting your dream girl and all this stuff, which is it's cool. I'm not saying it's bad to do that. I'm just saying you need to be coming from a healthy place because if you're not coming from a healthy place when trying to attract women into your life, it's just going to lead to a lot more frustration and even more problems. You know, like some guys think that their solution is fixed once they get the girl. It's like, bro, that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Now she's probably going to be toxic. Now you have insecurities that are going to get brought up. Like now, what happens if she cheats on you? Like now it's heartbreak, and now you got to start over again. You know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So my message is learn to truly love yourself.
That's a really good message that hopefully a lot of guys implement that in their lives and really think about that in a deep level. Yo, thanks again. Thanks for you coming in. You know, this was very rare. You know, I got in your Instagram pretty randomly, so I'm really thankful that you actually came to this interview and I was able to do this. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And for everyone else, let them know where they can find you again.
Yeah, so Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Debauched Romeo. I created another account because I thought my current TikTok was shadow banned, but that one is called Romeo the Coach. Yeah, or you could just DM me if you have any questions on any of those platforms.
All right, sounds good. Everyone that's listening, thanks for listening. Follow us, and I'll see you guys next time.